Good morning. This is Miss Elkins. I'm here to talk to you today about multiplying fractions. There's some rules we have to remember when we're multiplying fractions. I want you to stop this video right now, though, and go get a piece of paper and a pencil and a spiral notebook. If you have one for your math notes would be great. But get something to write on because you won't remember any of this if you don't write it down. So stop now and go get something. All right. The rules for multiplying fractions are these. In order to multiply fractions and mixed numbers, each number must be written as a proper or improper fraction. Mixed numbers must be converted to improper fractions, and whole numbers must be written over 1, because every number has a denominator of 1. So let's talk about this step right here. If you're multiplying a fraction times a whole number, then you simply change that whole number into a fraction like that and put it over 1. If you're multiplying a mixed number times a fraction, you first have to change this to an improper fraction. This is something you should have learned earlier on. Hopefully you remember how to change that to improper, but in case you don't, the steps are these. You multiply the numerator you multiply the whole number, the 1, times the denominator, and then you add the numerator. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. 1 1/2 is also equal to 3/2. Now you can multiply. You cannot multiply it like this. You have to change it to improper. It's not going to work any other way, okay? All right. So, steps for multiplying fractions are these. Change each mixed number to an improper fraction. Please write this down. And if you don't understand how to change it to an improper fraction, there are lots of great videos out on the internet about that. Okay? Then after you've changed it to improper, you multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. Oh, can't spell. Denominator. Okay, it's that simple. And then the last step is always to simplify. Always, always, always simplify your fractions. If you get an answer like this, know that that simplifies down to 1/2. Tell me 6/12. Simplify your fractions. Okay, so let's talk about the very basic parts of just multiplying the fractions. I've got 2/3 times 4/5. Please write this down. 2/3 times 4/5. I first multiply the numerators. 2 times 4 is 8. Then I multiply the denominators. 3 times 5 is 15. And I'm done. That's my final answer. That won't simplify. 8 and 15 don't have any common factors. Simple, right? Okay, let's write down this next example. 6/7 times 2/7. Multiply the numerator. 6 times 2 is 12. 7 times 7 is 49. So that is the simplest form. 12 and 49 don't have any common factors. Okay? If you have common factors of your original fractions, there's a way to simplify before you get your final answer. I call it cross-canceling. You cancel out common factors. So look at this problem. 2/3 times 3/4. Write it down. If I look at the cross products, they are 3 and 3, and 2 and 4. Well, 3 and 3 are the same number. So 3 has itself as a common factor. What is 3 divided by 3? Oh, it's 1. I can cancel that 3 out and it becomes a 1. Alright? And I can cancel this 3 out and it becomes a 1. Now look at 2 and 4. 2 and 4 have a common factor of 2. So I can divide them both by 2 and simplify this fraction before I even multiply it. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then I multiply the numerators that I've simplified down to. 1 times 1 is 1. Sorry, I'm going to move that over a bit. 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 2 is 2. That's my simplest form. Now, if that confuses you, you're welcome to skip that step and just multiply, and I'll show you how that would look. If I multiply 2 times 3, I'll get 6. If I multiply 3 times 4, I'll get 12, but that's going to simplify down to 1 number. So what I did with the cross cancel is I simplified it before I multiplied, and there's no more simplifying to do. You can do it either way, but I like to cross cancel. I'll show you what I mean here. The cross products here are 3 and 15, and 6 and 8. Well, 3 and 15 have a common factor, don't they, of 3. So what's 3 divided by 3? That's 1. 15 divided by 3, that's 5. So now that's a 1 and that's a 5. I made it a lot smaller. It's a lot easier to multiply that way. Okay, then I look at 6 and 8. They have a greatest common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide both of these numbers by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And now I've got my simplified form before I multiply. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 5 is 20. Don't like that? Then multiply first and then simplify. I'll show you what I mean. Here we go. 3 times 6, that's 18. 8 times 15 is 120. Guess what? Both of those will simplify down by a factor of 6 to simplify down to 3/20. I like simplifying before. Maybe you'd rather simplify after. As long as you simplify, I'm good. Now let's talk about multiplying mixed numbers. So I've got 2.5 times 3 and 3/5. First I have to make both of these numbers improper. Always make mixed numbers improper. You cannot multiply them otherwise. Just trust me, it's not done. I could spend all day explaining to you why, but you would be bored and I would be tired of talking. So, just trust me. 2.5 times 3 and 3/5. Make them improper. Multiply the whole number times the numerator. Multiply the whole number times the denominator and add the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. This becomes 5 over 2. Then 3 times 5 is 15, and 15 plus 3 is 18. This becomes 18/5. Now I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm going to cross cancel because I don't want to multiply 5 times 18 and 2 times 5 and have a big old number. I'm going to cross cancel because I realize that 18 and 2 have a common factor of 2. So that becomes a 1, and that becomes a 9. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And I also know that 5 and 5 have a common factor of 5. I love it when they're the same number because then I get to simplify it down to 1. And it's really easy to multiply by 1, don't you agree? 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. That simplifies all the way down to 9. You don't need a numerator, you don't need a denominator of 1. Now, if you wanted to do that the hard way, 5 times 18 is, let's see, what's 18 times 5? 5 times 8 is 40. Oh, that's 90. And then you would have gotten 90 over 10, which would have been pretty easy to simplify down to 9. But I like my way better. I'll enter 9. Okay, one more example, and then I'm going to bid you adieu. We'll change 4 and 5 6 and 1 and 1/4 to improper fractions. 4 times 6 is 24, and 24 plus 5 is 29. That's 29/6. 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. That's 5/4. You can't skip this step, folks. Now, sadly, none of these cross products have a common factor, so I'm just going to have to multiply and then simplify. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply the numerators. 29 times 5, I don't know my 29, so here I go, 29 times 5. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 14. I'm sorry, plus 4 is 14. So my numerator, 145. Then my denominator, 6 times 4 is 24. That's an improper fraction, and that's great, but I really need you to change that back to a mixed number. So how do we change that back to a mixed number? We divide numerator, 145, by denominator, 24. I don't know my 24s, but I feel like it's going to go in there at least 6 times. So here I'll check my math. Remember, division's always a guess and check game because you don't know your 24s, and neither do I. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Oh, that was a really good guess. So 24 goes into 145 6 whole times with 1 left over. My answer, my simplified answer, 6 and 1/24. Now, if I was making this a decimal, I had a decimal and zeros, but I'm not. I'm working with fractions, so I'm going to keep it a fraction. If your problem is a fraction, your answer should be a fraction. If your problem is a decimal, then your answer should be a decimal. You can convert them back and forth to do the math, but you can't give me that answer. So, hope you're having a good day. I hope I talk to you soon. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Also, do an internet search and find some good. There's some great videos out on how to work with fractions. If you're confused and you don't want to wait for an email from me, go look it up. Do it for yourself. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.